Good.
The only one that they wanted to come back was actually me. The only one they wanted to come back was me, and made Al really jealous about the whole thing. It was just weird.
Joe, you gotta slow down. And
it made Al really jealous, and that was just weird.
Hold on. Because the painters just wanted you to come back and not Al. So
yeah.
He got jealous. Is that what happened?
So having your stepdad sitting here and sniping at your boss when you're at home, and then when you're at work, having your boss sniping at your stepdad, that was a little bit awkward.
Okay. So
awkward?
Awkward.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, how long did you work for the painter, and were you still living with your mom?
Yeah. During that time, I worked there with him for a couple months, and during that time I was still living with Mom. Al was living there too, and eventually I was still paying all the bills. Al was, like I said, mostly covering his own cigarettes, if that. He just didn't see much reason to try, I guess. So eventually I went over and, I gave them money to go and pay I gave them money to go and pay the phone bill, and Mom just, wasted, went and bought a new dress for Sarah. It's like so I didn't already have enough dresses. So the phone bill got cut off again. I'm just like, okay, look, this is too much. And Al previously had said that he had some friends that live up by Vegas, and if I ever wanted, then I could go off and do that. I'm like, look, is that still open?
So you went up to Vegas to work?
Yeah.
And what did you do up there?
The reason that I was okay with leaving it at that point, because, okay, this is somebody that she's living with. Not that she's living with, but who seems long-term, who seems to be interested in going and being, actually, taking the role of a father.
This is Al?
Yeah.
Okay, even though he was not working.
That's, in general, yeah. So, I thought maybe this would motivate him a little bit. I don't know.
Pardon me?
I thought maybe this would motivate him a little bit. I just couldn't handle it anymore.
So you moved up to this area near Vegas?
Yeah.
And what kind of work were you doing up there?
For a while, I wasn't doing anything. I was just trying to find work, actually. Just going everywhere and dropping off applications everywhere. I went up there with about $20, and that was about all the food that I had for that month. So, end up with having a single bologna sandwich for a day's meal,
But what kind of work did you eventually find up there?
Eventually I was able to do some tree throwing.
Tree?
Throwing. That's when you take that's when people go in, they cut down trees, and you take the branches and throw them in wood chipper.
Tree throwing?
Yeah.
Okay,
actually throwing anything.
Okay, so you're working for a tree service.
Yeah.
How long did you do that?
I did it for a couple of days, and I was doing pretty good. And then Thanksgiving came around, and got a call from Mom, and she's like, hey, how about you come down and we'll feed you? And it's like, food, oh boy. Like I said, I wasn't eating very well at that particular time. So I went back for Thanksgiving, and never actually have been back to Vegas since, or the Vegas area since. So eventually, 3 or 4 months down the road, Al went up there with Chris, got my stuff, and came back. Some of it was missing, some of it was just messed up.
So,
whatever.
Joe, first of all, how are you getting back and forth from Vegas to Phoenix? You driving that?
No, actually, Al drove up, picked me up, and drove me back. And I'm like, okay, can I go back and get my stuff? And he's like, no, I don't even want to bother.
Well, but for all of this, you're working at the gas station, this place, that place, the other place.
Yeah.
Why didn't you ever learn to drive?
Because cars are dangerous.
Yeah, but come on.
Seriously, I don't particularly like cars. It's one of those things where you're getting something that costs, $1,000 or so at least, and you're leaving it. It's one of your most expensive possessions, and you're just going to leave it sitting out where anybody can go and grab it.
Yeah, but you can go and get jobs further away. There's all kinds of benefits to having a car. Millions of Americans agree. It makes a lot of sense to have a car, right?
Or you could just live in the city. Millions of Europeans agree.
But, Joe, seriously, why didn't you ever learn to drive? I'm not...
Seriously, I just did not want to.
Okay.
The financial... It was too expensive, gas was too expensive, insurance was too expensive. I didn't want the responsibility of having to worry about, hurting somebody with the vehicle or any of the other possibilities of it.
But Al drove.
Al drove, yeah.
Did your mom drive?
Not often.
But she did. She had a license.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Did you ever get a license?
No.
Okay. When you left Arizona, you went to North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Would you tell us how that all came about, please? Why did you decide to leave, and where were you working before you left Arizona?
Okay. So after I came back, one of the things that had happened is that Mom had got me a job had actually signed me up for working at Target because it was the Christmas season.
Working at Target?
Yeah.
Okay.
Around the Christmas season, they're always hiring to get, temp work, and at the end of the season, they keep the people who they feel did a good job. So I started like right after Thanksgiving, and at 3 months, I set up to transfer over to North Carolina. During that time, I saved up about $1,500, right?
$1,500, $1,500?
Yeah, used that as seed money. So Al and Mom were like, "Look, you're not going until we get married." For Mom, it's like, "Okay, I need to make sure that you're there," and for Al,
I need to make sure
that you're here for me to get married, that you're there. And for Al, it was basically, okay, you're going to be paying for this, right?
You're going to be what?
Paying for this.
Okay.
I had extra. As far as he was concerned, I had extra money, so I could pay for it. So, which really ended up going and like doing me a screw in the long run, but whatever. So
you paid for their wedding?
So I paid for the wedding, and they said that they'd pay me back by sending me my stuff.
Okay. Now, what was your plan? What were you doing at this point? You've mentioned gaming and things. Were you doing online gaming and on this online story writing thing yet?
Yeah. No,
yes?
That's one of the things that I've been doing since being up here in
Burien.
In Burien, yeah.
Okay.
Since I was about 20, 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me also ask you, did you meet Michelle when you were living in Arizona, or not until you moved to North Carolina?
Not until I moved to North Carolina.
How about the woman you mentioned in D.C., Griselle?
I met her when I was living in Washington, I believe.
Washington State?
Yeah.
And what about Amber?
I think I met her when I was living in Washington as well.
Okay. And did you kept in touch with them as you're in Arizona?
Yes. Yeah.
So why did you decide to move out, and why did you decide to move to North Carolina?
I decided to move out because, like I said, I couldn't handle carrying everybody anymore, and even when I'm giving them money to pay the bills, they won't pay the bills.
Okay, and at this point you're 21. It's 1999, 2000.
It was just after. It was just at the beginning of 2000.
Okay, so you're 21.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And your brother Chris then is 16, 17 years old?
Yeah.
Okay. Was he still in high school?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were tired of carrying everybody. Why did you decide to move to Arizona? Excuse me, to North Carolina.
Sorry, I got things a little bit out of sequence. When I come back, Al had taken me up on the offer to be, the dad. He was just controlling everything. He was.
Al had taken you up on the offer to what?
To be the dad.
So he was being the dad?
Yeah. Usually we would get somebody in who would, okay, I'm going to be the dad. I'm going to be in charge of everything and tell everybody how to go off and do things. And if you don't like it, that's your problem. And Mom would just back him. But he'd get bored of it within a month and just bail.
Slow down, Joe.
Would get bored of it within a month and just bail. So, with Al, he just decided that everything was his, and just decided to roll with that. So anything that was in the fridge, anything that... When I came back, I was literally paying $300 a month to sleep on a fold-away bed in the hallway. And the fun part is, nobody else was paying rent this entire time. I didn't know this, but this was true. Nobody was paying rent at all. And the place was in my name still. So I was giving them money, and they were just, blowing it on whatever and wouldn't bother to pay the rent.
So why did you decide to move to North Carolina?
So at that point, I'm just like, part of it is that I just couldn't stand Al. And the other part of it was that I'm just I was done living at home at that point.
So, but why? I mean, there's 50 states. You don't have to move to North
why
Carolina.
North Carolina in particular?
Yes.
There was this gal that I met online.
There was a gal you had met online.
Yeah.
And what was her name?
Her name was Jenny.
And what did you know about her?
Well, she seemed lonely and she seemed nice, and so I went over there to meet her and stuff. And
Did she know you were coming? Did you have some agreement?
she knew I was coming.
Did you speak on the telephone?
Yeah.
I mean, moving across country is kind of a big deal.
Anyway, so I went over there and
How'd you get there?
I took a plane.
You took a plane?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I took a bus. Sorry.
Took a bus.
Took a bus.
You rode the bus?
Rode the bus.
And you got to Fayetteville?
Got to Fayetteville.
And?
It worked out great. I never met her.
So you never met her. I mean, did you get there and you call and say, hey?
Yeah. Got there, called up, met her. She didn't answer, left her an email, or eventually caught up with her. We were going to go meet at this bookstore that had a cafe in it. We went there. Well, I went there. Waited all day. She never showed up. It was great. Worked out well.
Okay, so at this point, do you have all kinds of luggage or just one suitcase, or what's your deal?
You can only bring so much when you're going on the Greyhound, so yeah, you
right.
don't have much.
Okay, so you've got some luggage, but not much.
Yeah.
And so what'd you do? You had been working at Target in North Carolina, or in Arizona.
And I waited 3 months so I would be able to go transfer from that Target to this Target. And I wasn't able to go and set things up at this Target yet. I wasn't able to. So I was able to go off and get a little cheap hotel with the money that I did have, but I wasn't able to go off and get phone access. So I wasn't able to go online and talk with my friends or whatever. I wasn't able to call my family because I tried, but they got on the phone cut off again, strangely enough. And yeah. So I'm sitting there around Christmas thinking, wow, this is a really huge friggin' bummer, isn't it? And so after that, the HR guy came back and I was able to get a job and just walk there anyway, and it ended up working out really well. Because you were just supporting yourself at that point, right? Yeah. If anything, not supporting anybody else? Yeah, if anything screwed up, it was on me, and I didn't have to worry about anybody else being excessive. Okay. So, let me ask you a couple questions. Okay. First of all, we saw in the video when you were being arrested this crow tattoo. Mm-hmm. When did you get that? I actually got that right before moving to North Carolina, literally the day before. Why did you do it at that point? Because it seemed like a good idea to. The hope was that it would strengthen the connection between me and the crow totemic thing. Totemic thing, and I don't know if it actually worked or not, but it seemed like a good idea. All the traveling you had done before, you had done with your mom, right? No. The trip to Vegas, to Tahoe, to Vegas, to Tahoe. Oh, right. You had gone on that trip. That was with adults when you were a child. Yeah. But as an adult, the first time you traveled alone was Arizona to North Carolina, right? Yeah. I mean, even when I was living at home, usually when I would go places with Chris or with Mom. Okay. Usually not by myself. Let me ask you something, Joe. All these places you lived when you were growing up, neighbors dangerous at any of those? No. I mean, were you living... Doesn't sound like you were living in Hollywood Hills or anything. No, I was living in pretty ghetto places. Pretty what? Ghetto. What does ghetto mean? Just low rent. If people are working, they're not working good jobs. They're working low end. Service industry would be good. Okay. Working class apartments? Well, I must say working class because working class is more of everybody's working. They've got decent jobs. So this is maybe not everybody's working. Low end. Okay. I mean, most people are working, and if they are working, they're getting, they're probably in line to get government assistance, or they're not working very good jobs, like they're working McDonald's or whatever. Okay. Did you feel like the neighbors were going to attack at any of those places? No. When you took there were concerns, but I didn't like leaving the windows open. Sure. You're locking your door at night. Yeah. Right.
Were you crouched inside the door with a sword in one hand and a revolver in the other, or anything like that?
No.
No.
The only time I really felt any concern was when we were in the area when we were in the last place in Arizona where occasionally we would hear gunfire.
Okay.
There was some concern at
So
that
did you get
point.
yourself a gun at that point?
No.
When
No.
you took the bus alone across country, did you get a gun to protect yourself?
No.
When you got to Fayetteville, North Carolina, that's a military town, right?
Yeah.
Fort Bragg, isn't it that in the area?
Fort Bragg and Pope Air Force.
Pope Air Force Base, right. You have short hair like you have now at the time?
Absolutely not.
You had long hair, right?
My hair was down to the middle of my back at that time.
Okay. You live in a
stood
good
out
part
like
of
a
town,
sore
bad
thumb.
part
It
of
was
town?
I need one person.
Sorry.
I stood like a sore thumb at that point. It was great.
You what?
Sorry, what was that?
Stood out like a sore thumb at that point. It was great.
You stood out like a sore thumb in that military town?
Yeah.
Were you living in a nice part of town or a not nice part of town?
When I first got there, I was not living in a very nice part of town.
Did you arm yourself with a gun?
No.
Did you ever get attacked when you were in your hotel room?
No.
You said it was a low-end hotel? Like what kind of hotel? Marriott? Sheraton?
The kind that prostitutes hang out in front of,
Kind that prostitutes hang out in front of?
and that
See any drug activity?
a little.
You didn't arm yourself.
No.
Okay. Now,
I mean, they mind their business. You mind your business. It's all good.
Would you say?
You mind your business. They mind their business. It's all good.
okay. Now, how long did you live in Fayetteville before you moved out here?
Oh, a couple of years.
2 years, roughly?
I'd say so.
Okay.
Just so it's been noted, before I left Fayetteville, I'd actually moved first to a slightly nicer hotel, and then I actually got rented a room from some dude, and that was in a pretty nice area of town, actually.
Because you rented a room from a guy, and what kind of work did that guy do?
He was actually in the Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he an officer?
He was an officer, yes.
Okay.
He
So,
retired and signed back on as a civilian employee, as far as I know.
Retired what?
He retired and signed back on as a civilian employee of the Air Force, as far as I know.
okay. Now, were you working at Target the whole time you were in Fayetteville?
Yes.
All right. And did you, well, let me ask you this. Michelle really was your girlfriend, unlike Shoshana, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's your first girlfriend? Where did that happen?
My first girlfriend actually was there. She
Was where?
was actually in Fayetteville.
Okay.
Her name was Kim. She'd had a thing where she kept falling down, so they put her on the operator, right? So this would happen sometimes where I would be on my day off and she'd call me up and be like, "Hey Joe, you doing anything today?" No, I guess not. I had a really hard time saying no to anything, right? So yeah, no, I guess not. Okay, so you want to come into work today? This particular time, it started off just like that. You doing anything today? No. You want to go out? What? Yeah.
So she asked you out,
Yeah.
and you had a relationship with her?
Yeah, we,
Okay. And,
went on a
well,
couple,
Joe?
we're not, sorry.
It's okay. You said she had a thing, she kept falling down. Did she have anything wrong with her?
I eventually went with her to the hospital for support, and she found out she had MS.
How old was she?
She was only, like 19, 20.
Okay, so it's pretty
Yeah.
young for a diagnosis of MS. But she was your girlfriend for a while, right?
No, not really.
Well, did you have a physical relationship with her?
Yeah.
Okay. And
But after she found out that she had MS, she's like, "Look, I can't handle you and the MS." Maybe if
so,
I had been able to drive, it would have been different. I don't
I
know.
didn't hear the last.
Maybe if I had been able to drive, it would have been different. I don't know.
got to speak up, Joe. I didn't hear you.
Maybe if I had been able to drive, it would have been different. I don't know.
Okay, but she broke up with you at that point?
Yeah.
And what was your response to that?
Just finally depression, you know.
What's that?
Just incredible depression and really trying to change that. Didn't work though.
Really trying to change that and what?
Didn't work though.
Okay.
So-
So were you still getting up out of bed and going to Target and working and everything like that, though?
Yeah, I mean, people were depending on me to go there to do my job. So
So you did it.
when people depend on you to do your job, you do your job, yeah.
Right.
Look, my mom was not really reliable. The guys she would bring home were not really reliable. So somebody had to be reliable. Somebody had to be somebody that you could count on.
Okay.
So that was.
So let's quickly move through because I'm really trying to move us along
Okay.
here. Other important relationships that you had in Fayetteville? Any other girlfriends?
Well, she wasn't in Fayetteville. Katie was actually somebody who I had met through a friend from writing, and she was actually over in Nacogdoches.
That's in Louisiana?
Yeah. NATCHOTTIES, I think. I don't know. Sorry.
They won't judge you on this.
Yeah. So I went over there, and at first I wanted to just like move over, just fly over there and move over there again. She's like, no, maybe you should be a little bit more cautious this
So
time.
hold on. You were going to move over there to Louisiana to be
Yeah.
with this woman? How long had you known her?
I'd say about 6 months.
Now Kim, she was there in Fayetteville with you, so you didn't have to move anywhere for her.
Yeah.
Okay, but Katie, you about 6 months. You'd never met her. You were going to move over there, and she said maybe not.
She said, maybe you should just come and visit first.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so is that what you did?
Yeah.
And how did that work out?
We met and we got together, and things went really well for about 3.5 days.
And then?
And then she rolled over and told me, I don't love you anymore, and told me to get out of bed and just never explained to me why it didn't work out.
So did you get out of bed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else in that relationship?
I spent the next 3 days trying to get her to explain what happened and why. That didn't work, and eventually, she got a really clean house out of the process, though.
And then what?
I ended up being really frustrated and going and cleaning the entire house up really good.
So wait a second, Joe. Hold on. So you go down to Louisiana to meet this woman.
Yeah.
After 3 days, she says, get out of bed. You get out of bed, and
Yeah.
you stayed for a couple days then?
I had my return ticket wasn't for 3 more days.
Couldn't you bump it up?
I don't know.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Kim had MS. Did Katie have any problems like that?
She had a really severe depression. She'd actually had her entire forearms were slashed down on each side.
She was cutting on herself?
I don't know if she was still cutting on herself, but she had cut on herself, and that really made me feel like, she could use some, I guess not.
Like she could use some what?
Support, somebody who cared
Support?
about her. I guess
So
not.
did the fact that Kim had MS, was that something that was good
No.
for you? Or what?
No, I mean, granted, once I found out that she had MS, it's like, yeah, I was really kind of surprised that she got rid of me afterward, because I totally would have. I was like, yeah, I really wanted to take care of her after that, But
Okay. So that
Yeah.
with Katie didn't work out. There was another
Yeah.
somebody else that Dr. Dutton mentioned. There was somebody in Philadelphia. Tell us about that
oh yeah,
relationship.
that was Adrian, right?
Tell us about Adrian.
I went out there to. This was another one where I flew up there and hung out there for about a week, and we set up a place to meet. And this is before cell phones. The other one waiting for me, and then we just,
And you were really there for a week, or are you exaggerating, or you were there
No,
for
I was
7
really there
days?
for a week. And I'm like, okay, well, how about we try again? She's like, no, how about we don't?
So did she have some kind of issue as well, like
No.
Katie had? No?
No.
Okay.
Nothing
Now,
at all.
any other women that you visited? Didn't you visit?
Yeah.
Who was that?
I actually visited Amber at some point as well.
Okay, so you're still in touch with Amber.
Yeah.
And Amber lives in
Vermont.
Vermont?
Mm.
Burlington?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, and how did you get up to Burlington?
I took a bus.
From Fayetteville?
Mm.
Okay. And did you... now, Amber was not your girlfriend, though, right?
No, she was just a friend that I was visiting, and we ended up doing stuff, and it was one of those things where I kind of left it open to see if she'd wanted to follow up on that, because I'm not... I didn't want to go off and press her or anything,
You didn't want to what?
Pretzel.
You didn't. When you said we went up and ended up doing stuff, did you have an intimate relationship with her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but nothing came of it beyond that?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. Now,
So,
and when you were done, how long did you visit Amber?
I visited her for a week.
And then you went back to Fayetteville?
Yeah.
Did you talk to Amber often on the phone?
Yeah.
How often?
No, I talked to her. I talked to her all the time. Not all the time, but a lot. On the phone, online, whatever.
So you got to know each other pretty well?
Yeah, we were really good friends.
And
She'd had somebody had attacked her, and through a mutual friend, I found out that somebody had attacked her, and said, okay, well, let me talk to her, and so I was able to go off and help her through that, and we ended up becoming friends after that.
Joe, I missed that whole thing. You got to speak up and go through it again slower.
Somebody had attacked her, and I found out this from a mutual friend, because the friend was like, yeah, I'm talking with my friend Amber, somebody had attacked her, and would you like to help? And actually, I think I said, hey, can I help? So I did, and we ended up becoming really good friends from that. So.
Okay, so you helped her out, what, emotionally?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and just being there to talk to, you know.
Just being there to talk to?
Yeah. Trying to help her out as much as I could.
What's that?
Trying to help her as much as I could. So.
Okay. Now, in the course of all this, when you're in North Carolina and you're working, you met Michelle, right?
Yeah.
You met her online in some writing group?
Yeah.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, did Amber know Michelle?
No.
Never had any contact with her through the writing group?
No. They were different groups.
Different groups.
Yeah.
And how did you decide, what was your relationship like with Michelle before you moved out here?
It was pretty positive. She came across as very sweet, very nice. Mostly a very sweet, very cute person, you know.
Did she send you pictures or anything?
I actually sent her a camera. She sent me some old pictures, and then I sent her a camera.
So Michelle sent you old pictures and you sent her a camera?
Yeah.
And did she then send you some new pictures?
Yeah. The pictures that she sent showed her as being actually pretty athletic. You know, they were
pretty athletic?
Yeah, they were from her high school years when she was athletic, and she said that she used to like run track a lot and, you know, walk out and all this other stuff. And it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. But
keep your voice up. Keep speaking into the microphone.
And so, if you guys wonder why I'm not looking at you, it's because I'm looking at this to keep my mind on it. Sorry, don't forget it. So, I had so I bought her a camera, sent it to her, and she sent pictures that were basically she would push her stuff up in, you know, so face shots, right? And yeah.
And so in the meantime, you're living with the Air Force officer, former Air Force officer.
Yeah.
You're working at Target.
Yeah.
How are you getting back and forth to work?
I have a bike. At this point, after moving in there, I actually got a bike. And in fact, before moving in there, I got a bike, learned how to ride a bike. And
you get yourself the bike?
Actually, the people at Target gave me a bike because up till then I was just walking.
You were walking?
Yeah.
How far?
A couple miles.
And you never at that point thought, hey, I could get a car and drive this?
No.
Okay, so they got you a bike and you're biking to work?
Yeah.
And what are you doing? Are you socializing with the gentleman you lived with? What was his name?
Brian.
Brian?
Yeah.
You're socializing with him or his roommates or anything else?
Not really.
What were you doing with your free time?
I was mostly online.
Mostly online? And you're talking to Amber?
And my other friends, yeah. Writing and stuff, yeah.
Okay, and then you meet Michelle?
Yeah.
She sends you pictures?
Yeah.
How long did you know her before you decided to move out here?
I think about 6 months.
Okay, and now, I mean, with all due respect, your track record with meeting girls online and having it work out is lousy, right?
No, sometimes it worked out great, and I didn't meet them.
Well, unfortunately,
actually,
you met Michelle.
the one, yeah, right. The one of my leads, I told him that I was going to be doing this, and he's like, are you sure this is a good idea?
One of your leads, one of the supervisors at Target?
Yeah. So, like, no, I'm not. He's like, he was concerned. I'm like, no, I'm not worried about it. It's okay. Yeah.
So you decided to move out here.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do with all your stuff?
I packed all my stuff up and sent it through the mail because she's like, well, my mom works at the post office. It's no big deal. So
for her mom to pick up all your stuff?
Pick all that stuff up and just bring it back and just put it in a closet or whatever. So that's what we did.
But I mean, you had moved across the country from Arizona and got stood up.
Yeah.
You went to Nacogdoches, Louisiana, however you pronounce it. My apologies to the good people of Louisiana. And you got tossed out after 3 days. And then you went to Philly and you got stood up. And now you mailed all your stuff to Washington State?
Seemed a good idea at the time.
Okay. And what happened when you got out? How'd you get out here?
I flew out here, actually. The plane got kind of sidetracked, so I ended up taking an extra day. But I eventually got out here.
Okay. And what happened when you got here and you met Michelle?
Actually, I came out here on, I think, April 2nd. So.
How about that?
Yeah. So.
April 2nd, 2002?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So
you got out here, and what did you think when you met Michelle? Everybody's already seen my unfortunate and impolite remarks about that, and I apologize, but I own them. But what did you think?
My first thought was that, now keep in mind, before I had come out here, she had described herself as being very athletic, very muscular, almost like Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2.
Like Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2?
Yeah. If anybody's seen that. If you haven't, she was very muscular but trim, right? In that particular movie. As opposed to like androgynous muscular, I guess. Anyway. She looked really good.
Okay, and did Michelle look like that when you met her?
Well, no, actually. I had kind of honestly forgotten what Linda Hamilton had looked like in Terminator 2 because I hadn't seen it in years. So I'm like, is that like really muscular? I don't really know. And she's like, no, it's not too muscular. So I come out here and she had, she shows up about half an hour late and she had like just literally rolled out of bed and thrown on whatever. So keep in mind, in all the pictures that she had sent me prior to this, she had on just really elaborate makeup, right? And this one she didn't even bother with that. This time she didn't bother with that, she just kind of showed up. She wasn't particularly muscular. She was kind of big actually, and I was kind of taken aback and surprised. I didn't say anything, but I was just like, oh. And I guess she saw my reaction and held that against me, but I'm just like, whatever. I came out here, we got in the car, and I'm just like, wow. Whatever. I came out here because I care, because I love her, not because of the size of her, right? So whatever. So. Yeah.
You said you loved her?
Yeah.
You had never met her, though, right?
No.
So how'd you know you loved her?
We emailed and talked.
Talked on the phone?
On the phone.
This was before the days of Skype?
Yeah.
And what did she tell you about her situation, like, as far as before you moved out here? Did she say, hey, I'm dating this guy, Mark Mann, and I'm living with him, or what happened?
Actually, she told me that she was living with, that she had had a roommate who was female, who had recently joined the army, and the roommate's boyfriend was still there, and would be moving out as I was moving in. That would be Mark Mann. And that and that she hadn't been with anybody in about 6 months. But that she had just gotten an abortion.
Okay. Well, but Joe, when did you learn that Mark Mann, in fact, was her boyfriend?
I think the first time I really believed it was when I heard the tape of that phone call, actually. I hadn't heard that he was her boyfriend until somebody had... One of the attorneys had mentioned that... Yeah, Jesus mentioned something that Jesus had meant somebody else.
Joe. Hold on. The short answer, because I asked you when, without the whole deliberative process, one of the attorneys, were you ever represented by an attorney before December 24th, 2007?
Absolutely not. There was ever any reason for me to be represented by an attorney before.
So when did...
Sorry, I didn't hear it. I believe it beats her.
There was never any reason for me to be represented by an attorney prior to any of this.
Okay, so
Sorry, I need a drink.
you didn't learn that Mark Mann had been her boyfriend until after you had already killed the Andersons and been arrested and sent to jail, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but till that point I thought he was just this creepy guy who would hang out around her, and she would always was like really into her. And
Speak up.
up until then, I had only known him as this creepy guy who was always hanging around her and always mooning around and just very off-putting. And I'm like, look, can we not have this guy around? You have to hang out with this guy. And she's like, oh, no, it's cool. I never had anything with him. He's just obsessed with me, and, I get stuff from him. It's what she would call, pardon, but the term... It's what she would call, pardon, but the term that she would use is asshole tax. Sorry, but that's the term.
What's that? What's the asshole tax?
It's actually from this movie, Fight Club, where somebody's, not a pleasant person to be around, so they have to get you stuff to keep them around.
So that you'll tolerate them being around?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so that's how she referred to getting things from Mark Mann?
Yeah.
What kind of things would she get from him?
She would go and get movies, and he'd go out over and he would actually buy her meals and bring them to her while she was at work and whatnot. I'm just like, work? Yeah, over at Seattle Tower, actually, right? I never liked that, but I'm just like, well, if there's that, then she's like, you trust me, don't you? Yeah, I guess I trust you, but whatever.
So you moved in with her to Kent Terrace Apartments?
Mm-hmm.
In Kent?
Yeah.
How soon after you got here did you start working?
I think it took about a month, actually, because when I came out here, the guy...
Took about a month to work where?
At Target.
Okay, so basically you transferred to Target up
Yes.
here. Okay. And how close was that to where you were living at Kent Terrace Apartments? Did you have to drive it?
No, it was down the street.
So you could walk?
Yeah.
Okay. And Michelle at the time was working where? Seattle Tower?
Yeah, actually.
That's one of the buildings here in the downtown area?
Yes.
And what was she doing there? Sorry. Neighbors might be dangerous.
She'd mentioned that she'd actually mentioned that before I'd even come out. That one of the things that she was concerned about was that the neighbors were dangerous, and that she really wanted to go off and have somebody around, not only to help pay the bills, but because the neighbors were dangerous, to help protect them. So even if things don't work out, she would still need a roommate.
I mean, did you ever say, well, hey, I'm not really the guy that gets in fights?
No.
And did you have a gun or anything before you moved out here?
No. In fact, by then, like I said, I pawned my sword and sold all my knives. Well, left all my knives behind.
What kind of knives did you have?
Oh, I used to collect knives. Before I left Arizona to go to North Carolina, I left all my knives behind.
Okay. So...
My grandfather collected swords, so I couldn't afford swords, so I just collected knives.
Okay. So, Mark Mann also mentioned something about it had been something Michelle had, some kind of fantasy of hers to kill her family. When did that first come up, or did it come up with you? Obviously, it must have come up at some point.
Yeah. When I had first met her, one of the reasons that she wanted me to come out here instead of the other way around was because she had her family here, and she was really close to her family, and it's like, great. I'm very glad that you're close to your family. That's fantastic that you're close to your family. I was close with my family, so I moved out here and to help home be close to her family. And
Well, but at what point was my
at
question?
what point she had always had a problem with her father.
When did she reveal that to you?
I don't remember. I don't recall if she mentioned that after I came out or before I came out.
Okay. So, but what
So-
kind of problem? I mean, everybody maybe doesn't get along with a parent perfectly. That's nothing out of the
She
ordinary.
viewed him as being a very abusive, vicious person.
And did you have any independent verification of that?
No, not at the time and not since.
Not at the time and not since?
No.
Okay, so you moved out here to Kent Terrace Apartments. She had mentioned the danger in advance, and then we also know that at some point when you moved out here, you bought a gun.
Yeah.
Tell us about why you bought guns.
I had bought the initial gun, which was the .357, because we were living on a third floor apartment, and we actually had people who were climbing up the balcony of the second floor apartment and like trying to break in. And and some of them were actually trying to climb up to the third floor apartment as well, which was us, of course. So I'm sitting here and I'm just like, this is not okay, right? And
So let me interrupt you for a second.
Okay.
Somebody's climbing to your third floor balcony?
yeah.
Like Spider-Man or like an actual real person?
No, just like a regular person.
I mean, did you ever see them on your balcony?
They didn't make it to the balcony, no.
Because you're on the third floor.
tried. They got up to the second floor and they were trying to get up to the third floor, but
And who were these people?
just some neighborhood guys.
Kids or adults?
I would say kids but I don't mean like,
Not 4-year-olds.
10-year-olds or 4-year-olds or anything. I mean like 15, 16-year-olds.
Okay, so they're teenagers.
Teenagers, yeah.
And were they rowdy?
Very rowdy. That's why they were climbing up and trying to bash down the door.
Bash
Not our
down
door.
whose door?
The door downstairs.
But they never came on your balcony.
No.
Did you ever think, I'm taking it you rented, you did not own, correct?
Right.
Ever phone the landlord and say, hey, problem with the neighbors here?
Didn't want to go and draw attention to ourselves. Usually drawing attention to oneself is a way of drawing attention to oneself. Marking yourself as a target, right?
Marking yourself with a target by complaining about kids climbing up the balcony?
Yeah.
Did you ever have a conversation with Michelle where it was like, what reasonably can we do about this? Like, oh, I don't know, call the police?
Actually, yeah. And we were concerned that if we did that, that the police would come up and they'd all just, say, okay, it wasn't me, And then they'd all come up and then they'd attack us for doing so.
But, you mentioned this experience with the police when your brother called them when you were 13 or 14 years old. Any other run-ins with the police in your young years?
There was a couple times that I'd been pulled over.
Pulled over?
Yeah,
I thought you didn't drive.
on a bike.
Pulled over on a bike. For what?
Looking suspicious.
In Fayetteville?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get ticketed? Did they
No.
beat you up?
No.
Search you?
They searched
Why did they pull you over?
because I looked suspicious.
Did you look like somebody who matched the description of someone who had committed a crime?
That's what he said.
Okay. And did you cooperate?
Yeah, of course.
But he didn't do anything illegal?
No.
Okay, so what's with the, why not just call the police? Where did you get this idea that it's going to mark you as a target or something?
I don't know. I was just concerned, I guess. I don't know.
Concerned about what?
I don't know. I was just concerned that they wouldn't take us seriously. I guess so. That they'd come over and just kind of poke around and just bail.
And just what?
Come over, poke around, and just bail.
And disappear?
Yeah.
Did you... Now, you knew that Michelle, she had said some things maybe about her dad, but did she talk to you about her relationship with the rest of her family and her brother? Did she mention that
She got along really well with everybody else. She actually would often go and compare me to Scott. anyway where I came up, shortcoming.
I missed most of that joke. Try it again.
It's one of those things where I would often be compared to Scott unfavorably.
You were what?
Compared to Scott unfavorably.
Okay.
Most people would be compared to Scott unfavorably, though. He was a good guy.
Okay. But did you ever meet Scott?
I met Scott, eventually I met Scott.
Okay.
He was concerned that this guy had went and come all the way out and wanted to make sure that she was safe.
So he was keeping his little sister safe.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Now, and you met Scott. Did he seem like a decent guy to you?
Yeah.
All those good things people said the other day, those sound pretty much true to you?
I don't doubt it.
Don't doubt it? Okay.
I don't doubt it.
So why not, if you've got trouble with the neighbor kids and you're concerned about the cops, why not say, maybe we should talk to your family. You got a good family. Say, hey, we're worried about this. Did you ever do that?
Actually, she did that. She
Okay.
did call the family and talk to them about it, and they just didn't seem too concerned about it, I guess. I don't know.
There's a mention in your journal, and I think that it was read into the record at one point, but if not, we could certainly do that, about borrowing a gun. Maybe it was a gun that had belonged to Ryan at one point.
Ryan was, at that time, he had a .45 that he'd given to Scott to hold on to. And so Shell asked him for that, and Scott's like, yeah, Ryan wants that back. So then she talked to Wayne about it, and so Wayne had let us borrow a .22 rifle.
Okay.
So,
But there was never any discussion of, like, what can we do about this situation of people climbing the balcony other than arming ourselves?
not that I know of, no. I mean, we tried to come up with other things, but that just didn't.
Did you ever talk to anybody at work about it? Hey, we're in a dangerous place?
No.
Okay, and was Michelle continuing to work as a security guard this whole time?
She might have moved to a different building by this time. She might have moved to a different building, but I'm not sure. She was still a security guard, yes.
And you never could come up with any other solution other than arming yourselves?
It seems like an obvious oversight now, doesn't it?
Pardon me?
It seems like an obvious oversight now, doesn't it?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
It seems like an obvious oversight now, doesn't it?
After you killed her family, you mean?
Actually, I meant, now that it's pointed out, but yeah. Yeah.
Your Honor, may we break for the day?
Ladies and gentlemen, please leave your notepads